All right, let's jump right in. I want you to picture a scene that probably sounds pretty familiar. You're in a boardroom, and up on the big screen is this beautiful, slick looking dashboard. It's got all the colors, all the charts, all the KPIs. Everything's pointing up and to the right. But then, the real questions start coming. Why did that number dip? How do we fix it? So, what do we actually do now? And suddenly, that beautiful dashboard just goes silent. You see, these are the questions that matter most, and they're the ones that most of our fancy, expensive business intelligence tools just can't answer. They're great at showing you the what, but they completely fall apart on the why and the what's next. There's this quote that just hits the nail on the head. Our dashboards today are like elaborate maps that stop short of navigation. They can show you exactly where you are, right down to the decimal point, but they offer zero help on where to go from here. And that brings us straight to what I call the dashboard dilemma. We're going to dig into the hidden problem with the very tools that we've come to rely on for our most important decisions. When you really break it down, it all comes down to a fundamental mismatch. Most of these BI platforms were built for data analysts, folks who have the time and the training to dive deep and explore the data. But who's actually using them to make the calls? It's executives under immense pressure who need clear answers, not a data treasure hunt. And this mismatch, it leads directly to this state right here, analysis paralysis. When you give a decision maker a tool that's built for endless exploration, you get endless filtering, endless tweaking, and a whole lot of frustration. It's the exact opposite of the clear, confident action they need to take. And here's the real kicker. After companies spend millions of dollars on these sophisticated BI platforms, where do so many leaders turn when they actually need to make a decision? Good old Excel. Yeah, it's blunt, it's clunky, but it's direct. It forces you to get from data to a decision, something the smarter tool often fails to do. But this is where the story takes a turn, because generative AI is completely changing the game. It's helping to transform these tools from something an analyst uses into a genuine partner for the decision maker. Look, the real breakthrough here, it isn't just about automating an analyst's tasks, like writing code or building a chart faster. The huge opportunity is to use AI as a co-designer of your decisions, to finally bridge that massive gap between a simple business question and a concrete strategic action. So instead of a team scrambling for 2 weeks to find an answer, a CFO can just ask. Imagine this, just typing or saying, why did our gross margin dip last quarter? And instantly you get a clear, plain English explanation. And you don't stop there. You can build on it, run what-if scenarios right on the spot. Okay, interesting. What if we reallocate 10% of our marketing spend over to the APAC region? And just like that, the system models the potential outcomes for you. And it goes even further, becoming truly prescriptive. You can ask forward-looking questions like, what risks should I highlight to the board if we decide to increase headcount by 15%? Now you're not just describing the past, you're actively stress testing the future. This massive shift, it forces us to think about business software in a totally new way. Because this AI wave is creating two very different kinds of tools, and understanding the difference is everything. So here's a great way to frame it. On one side, you have what you can call cursor tools. These are built for the technical experts, that top 1%. Think of coding assistants that help amazing developers write code even faster. But on the other side, you have lovable tools. These are designed for everybody else. And their goal isn't just to make experts faster, it's to make decision makers better. And that is the heart of the issue, right? For years, the BI industry has been obsessed with building better cursor tools for analysts. But a CFO doesn't need another tool to make their analysts 10% more efficient. They need a lovable tool for themselves, one that helps them make better, faster, and more confident decisions. To make this shift really crystal clear, I want you to think about the history of the camera. It is the perfect analogy for what is happening in business intelligence right now. For decades, right, cameras were built for professionals. They were complex, they required a ton of technical skill, and they were optimized for a tiny handful of experts. And then the smartphone came along. It was designed for everyone, it was intuitive from the second you picked it up, and it empowered billions of people to take incredible photos without ever needing to know what an aperture or an ISO was. And right now, let's be honest, business intelligence is still very much in its professional camera phase. It's incredibly powerful, for sure, but it's also complex and it's optimized for the very few people who know how to work all the dials and settings.
Which is why it's time. It's time for the smartphone version of BI. A tool that has all the power of the professional gear, but is so accessible and so intuitive that it puts real decision-making capability into the hands of every single leader.
So, what does this smartphone version of business intelligence actually look like? Well, this whole new approach is called decision intelligence, and it's really built on 5 core pillars. The focus is on decisions, not just dashboards.
First up is speed. We're talking about going from a critical question to a full analysis in minutes, not weeks or months. Next is clarity, giving you answers in plain language, a real story, not just a sea of numbers. Then you have depth, the power to constantly ask why and what if, to get beneath the surface. Of course, none of that works without trust, which means every single answer has to be backed by transparent assumptions and clear data lineage. And finally, and most importantly, is impact. This is where success is measured by the quality of decisions you make, not the quantity of dashboards you build.
Ultimately, the entire goal is shifting right under our feet. We're moving away from a world that's obsessed with business intelligence, better charts, more data, and we're moving toward a world focused on decision intelligence, better outcomes, smarter strategy. And at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. The companies that are going to win in the next decade, they're not going to be the ones with the most dashboards. They will be the ones that empower their executives at all levels to make faster, clearer, and much more confident decisions. Just think about that for a second. The future leader, the future CFO, they won't be a passive person waiting for a report that's already 2 weeks out of date. They're going to be an active participant, having a real-time conversation with their data and driving the strategy forward with every single question they ask. So, I'll leave you with this one final thought to take with you. Take a hard look at your own organization. What's the true measure of success for your data strategy? Are you still counting the number of dashboards you produce, or are you measuring the quality of the outcomes you achieve?